Hi, this is Lee Benson, and I've read you 1, 2, 3, and 4, and today I thought I'd read you chapter 5 of A Brush with Paradise, which is launching on June the 1st. There was something blissful about waking up to the sound of the waves crashing onto the beach. Well, more like caressing the sand gently as she slowly rolled up the pink coastline and ebbed into the green-blue warmth of the Caribbean Sea. For my part, having had time to paint, enjoy the scenery and the warmth was a match made in heaven. Life was good, and at times even better. Of course, it had its moments. However, everything was handled at a slow pace. Even stormy weather was dealt with in a calm and laid-back fashion. I was so far removed from the stress of gallery life, I did miss some of the banter and social mayhem, along with the occasional customer. Oh, and I suppose the occasional memory of dealing with my fabulous backup team of staff, mostly. Let me comment on Lucia, because she really was on another level. She was in charge of the mansion and behaved just like the waves. She was full on in the storm, yet gentle when she purred, with caressing capabilities of ginormous proportions. She mentally fondled you to do exactly as she wanted. Her ex moved away to find work, or as she said, lay his lazy ass down somewhere else and do nothing. I appeared that many of the menfolk from the island had followed suit. She was in her 40s, so she said, with long legs, a fab figure and a great cook. She swam every day and seemed to have taken over my life. She was organised to perfection, and not only was she the housekeeper, she was in charge of the estate and everything that went on. However, I had told her under no circumstances that she must touch my paints. I'm sure she was working on the way to infiltrate the one area that was still mine. She was part of the fixtures and fittings of the amazing mansion that I was staying in. As I sat on the patio, taking in the amazing view and the absolutely wonderful aroma of the Caribbean, I let my mind wander to my life in good old UK. What was I doing right? And more to the point, what was I doing wrong? A perplexed situation I was unable to answer. As a matter of fact, why did I bother with the mental torture? All I needed was to breathe in the air, take in the vibes, and let it all go. You have to paint now, Lizzie told me. You're not wasting time, said Lucia, as she brought me back to the clarity of the moment. Oh, just like that, I have to paint. Yes, ma'am. She turned and slunk out of view. Good grief. You know, I remembered when my staff used to organise my life. Yes, I know I owned the gallery. However, they ruled the nest, and again, nothing changed. I was being told what to do. There was me thinking I was in charge of my life. I had to perish that thought. I stood up from the veranda and found my materials strategically placed just by the entrance. I hadn't remembered putting them there. That was another subtle takeover. I gathered up my kit and strolled down the path to a clearing which overlooked the sea below. It was the most breathtaking view. There was peace at last. I looked up and spotted the cormorant as it sailed above in the clear blue sky. It didn't take too long before I found a place to stop. I sat down, absorbed the atmosphere, set up my stuff, and then duly started to paint as Lucia had commanded under Lizzie's instruction. On the horizon I spied a tall ship. At least it looked like an old-style sailing ship with 4 masts. She was under full sail as she glided along. The sails bellowed, absorbing the wind, and slowly she moved into clear view. Oh, what a magnificent ship! She continued to draw closer, and her magnificence grew. In days past, she might have been a pirate ship preparing to raid the port, then burn, rape, and pillage the locals. Today, as luck had it, there was no such thing. She lowered her sails and continued to move closer under engine power. Well, that was modern technology, folks. I decided to paint her in full glory. I included the obligatory seabird and fluffy cloud. Me, a commercial artist? Perish the thought. How dare you? When you're totally absorbed in the moment, you're completely unaware of time. A thought crossed my mind over the differences strolling along the coastal paths in England, with the weather never guaranteed, to the warm and balmy days of the Caribbean. It hadn't taken long to decide that my current location was just bloody perfect. Well, apart from the constant pressure that Lizzie tried to put me under. She had a way of pushing me to do things that I felt was against my inner calm, and yet she would get away with it. As far as the paintings went, I thought they were satisfied, and although deep down I believed she wanted more, and let me tell you, that all took time. I was not a machine. No. And I was unable to churn the art out. On the social front, no complaints. Although I did feel like I was part of Lizzie's agenda. That remained to be seen. I returned to HQ Mansion, rather pleased with my achievements, and was greeted by 6 uniformed men loading crates onto the open truck parked right across the main entrance. The place was even more like a scene from a James Bond film. "What you looking at, white boy?" said a man I would not have wanted to meet on a dark night, or daytime for that matter. "The size of those crates," I replied. "Ya see nothing. No crates, no men, no trucks, eh?" Okay, my eyes must be deceiving me. I got the drift as politely as I walked into the scene, walked a tad quicker out of it, and continued around the mansion to the pool. Lizzie had returned and was sat reading a copy of The World of Interiors. "Hi, sweetie. I've been thinking we need to get you on the front cover of this magazine, or at least an advertorial. You need more exposure." Great idea. At least, it's not me semi-naked for Vogue. Don't want to scare the punters off now, do we? I said. Mind you, there's a thought. Lizzie struck her tongue out and giggled. "I saw the most amazing sailing ship earlier. She had 4 masts, so majestic, you know. Just had to capture the moment," I said. "Yeah, we call them one of those pay-as-you-go ships. She's a tourist ship for budding wannabe sailors who pay a fortune to work really hard, blistering their fingers and wrecking their backs. You could stay in a 5-star hotel for a month full board and be pampered for less. That's not my idea of fun. I tell you what is, though. A friend of Angus has a stunning catamaran. Now that's worth going on." "Oh, well, I think it's a great idea for a painting anyway." There you go, you see. I suffered an artistic dented moment. Furthermore, I decided not to say anything about the men and the crates, so I kept stum for a while. Lizzie ignored me and continued to read. After a few moments, I composed myself and took a deep breath. "A catamaran, eh? Sounds fast." She looked up and peered over her sunglasses. "It is. Tell you what, I'll organise a catch-up and get us invited. Besides, Dennis loves his art. I might even sell him one of yours. You never know." Why had I felt even more and more like a mere commodity, utterly compromised in every sense? Hell's teeth, I had endured profound suffering from my art, bearing the deep scars, both visible and hidden, that were etched from the relentless emotional turmoil that had coursed alongside my creative journey. "Oh, balls," I said. "I don't know why I bother," I exclaimed. Lizzie smiled at me. "Because you're good, that's why. You're sweet, adorable, and naive as well. Now calm down, let's have a relaxing drink." Well, that shut me up again for a minute. "Lizzie, you gotta understand something. Sometimes I just feel worthless. I can't help it. It was so much easier representing other artists and sculptors. Me, I'm a bleeding Libra. What do you expect?" "I tell you what I expect. You to do what you do best. That's paint. That's not so difficult, is it? Now run along and get Lucia to rustle us up with one of her specials." "Yes, boss." I did as I was instructed. I found Lucia and placed our order. "Leave it to me." She walked off with an air of superiority. I sat down beside Lizzie. "I'm sorry about my outburst. This place is just amazing and I'm truly grateful for the experience, seriously." She patted my head. I deserved it. "I'll make you feel a whole lot better tonight," she said. I didn't say another word till Lucia returned with the something special and the glass was in my hand. "Cheers," I said. "Bottoms up, sweetie." We clinked glasses. That was an adorable vision. Thank you.